Have you seen this Harry Potter game that's been doing the rounds?
Yeah, mate. Hogwarts Legacy, of course I have.
Is it the new GTA? You know what I mean? Like game of the year, like we'll be around for a hot minute type of stuff.
I don't think so. I think it's probably a pretty good game, but I think the nostalgia factor, around the Potterverse and how big that brand is already has really sort of driven the sales and certainly accentuated the big tidal wave that's carrying that game to crazy sales and heaps of hype and. Yeah, so I think it's more so that I don't think it's actually. I don't think it's a bad game from all reports, but I don't think it's a particularly brilliant game like a GTA.
Gotcha. What house would you be in? What Hogwarts house would you be in?
I think I'd be in Ravenclaw.
Think you're a bit smart, are you?
It's not so much that. It's more a case of ruling out the other houses. So firstly, rule out Gryffindor because I'm a massive verge. and you're supposed to be in Gryffindor if you've got courage, you look after your friends and all that. I've got none of that, I'm in it for myself. So then you think, okay, you must be in Slytherin. It's just like, no, but yeah, Slytherins, they've got a bit of a bad streak to them. I don't have a bad streak to me.
You're harmless.
I'm harmless. Exactly, I'm harmless. I'm a pushover. I'm a verge. And it's like, okay, cool, well, you're in Hufflepuff. Well, over my dead body, I'm in Hufflepuff, mate. So that leaves one house, which is Ravenclaw. So I think I'd be in Ravenclaw. Look, I'm definitely not the brightest bulb, mate, but I wouldn't say that I'm an idiot either. And I think Ravenclaw in general, they've got a bit of curiosity, they like puzzles and stuff, I guess. I could call a form guide a puzzle, particularly when I'm trying to dissect it. What about you, mate? What do you think you'd be in? What house?
So I've seen some snippets from the game.
Okay.
And like some of the, without giving too much away to you, or the drifters out there, one of the main storylines is like around magical beasts and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, one of my best mates is my dog. So I was like, you know what? I reckon I'd be in Hufflepuff because, I reckon I'd be quite... I'd get around like the magical creatures and that sort of thing.
Because they've got an affinity for creatures like herbology, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and you're growing some stuff out the back, aren't you? Some magical stuff. You'd be, yeah. Maybe you would be a bit of a herbologist. So look, will I play the game? I'm not gonna lie, I've downloaded it, but I haven't played it. So we'll see. There's a bit of controversy surrounding it, but are we the sort of podcast that'll dive into that?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, mate. But something I wanted to talk to you about was, something that's come up on the podcast very controversially, actually. Maybe we are the sort of podcast that sort of dives into that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Maybe we're going to dip our toe in the water, see what happens.
Maybe. Are we brainstorming? Are we workshopping a third podcast a week? Probably not at this stage.
No, we're not. We're not going to do a gossip pod, on the latest happenings. But if this creates some drama, then it is what it is. But once upon a time on this podcast, we spoke about omens.
Yes,
and got us into a lot of trouble. And so I'm just going to dip my toe in and see how we go. Something that's big in the racing game is omens, right?
Yeah.
How much do you read into them? Do you note it? You're like, yep, noted, and it's gonna enter your mind when when you are dissecting the puzzle that is the form, or do you just let it go through one ear and out the other, and if it happens, it happens?
A little bit. Like, for instance, at Flemington on the weekend, I had a bit of a bigger look at what Jai McNeil was writing because of Dean Lester.
For sure.
So I saw whatever he won in the first. I was like, had a duck egg next to it last start, but it won a couple prior. So I was like, you know what? I could see Jai being teary-eyed after being interviewed by Richo or whoever it was. And that came to be came to be the case. So, if I might see an opportunity here and there. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I'm definitely someone who takes it into account and I try and store it in the memory bank. But most of the time I store it in the memory bank and it only resurfaces after the fact when the race has already been run and won. And one was actually there's a very famous song by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers called "Learning to Fly," which I believe the Coolmore filly is named after. And I've been aware of the song for a long time, but I only really started getting into Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in the last sort of few months. So you'd think listening to that song a fair bit in the last few years, I'd be, the dots would connect and the two would join. 1 + 1 = 3, and I'd be backing Learning to Fly, but I haven't.
It's not the case.
But something that actually stood out to me today walking through the city. There's a lot of shops in the city where, when you walk past them, you'll see like a stack of blokes sitting down, and there'll be people cutting their hair. And when you walk past these shops, oftentimes they're actually called barber.
Don't know if that's an omen.
And I'm just wondering, I
think that's just an observation.
I got off the bus stop on the corner of Roadie Road. And I was walking back up the street to get towards your place. There's a shopping centre, and one of them has a big sign out the front of it called Barber.
I think you're just...
I don't know, mate.
I think you're just trying to see stuff.
Every single bloke in Australia is just like, oh, Barber, that's an enormous omen.
Yeah.
I have to dive on.
Oh, I cut my hair this morning.
I got a haircut booked in for this Saturday. You know what that means? Maybe that's why Godolphin named him that.
Maybe they're just naming their horses after omens.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's omens is a word strictly forbidden on this podcast, potentially from now on. So,
racing calendar changes in Victoria.
Yep.
Thoughts? Got announced on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't have any particular strong thoughts. I'm not against any of the changes, though. I'd say I think they're all good changes. The 1,000 Guineas for me is probably the best one because really Group 1 racing on a Wednesday I just don't think works. I get you're trying to make a carnival of the Caulfield Cup and have it like a week-long celebration, much like the Melbourne Cup. But the Melbourne Cup's the Melbourne Cup, mate. And Flemington can have that week. They can have the Oaks Day on the Thursday. They can do the Cup run on the Tuesday. People are going to be there. They're going to make the effort to go to the track, whereas it's not the case for the Caulfield Cup. So happy with the 1,000 Guineas change, the Rupert Clark change. What is that going to do for fillies preps when the flight stakes is however many weeks now before the 1,000 Guineas? Maybe it's going to get a completely different set of fillies who may be a late bloomers contesting that race. So, yeah, I don't mind it. What are your thoughts?
I think the only thing I'll add to that is I think it will open the door for those fillies that are, they are a question in the Oaks, and they'll potentially just drop back and just wait for the 1,000 Guineas, which I think will be good because how many times do you just see more than half the field in an Oaks just they're no chance to stay.
No, yeah.
And so 1,000 Guineas and the Rupert Clark are now the Saturday after Champions Day. So that's about it. I'm going to ring Jim's Removalists because it is bloody moving day this weekend, mate. 5 Group 1s, 3 at Sandown, 2 at Randwick. It's bloody sensational stuff.
Stacked, mate. I can't wait. And what a perfect day to do our first live stream of the year.
I know, yes. Well done by you. Yes, our first live stream of the year, Saturday, 2 p.m. AEST. So that is 3 p.m. Sydney and Melbourne time, 2 p.m. Brisbane time. We will be there in this very room on our YouTube channel on the Drift podcast. So if you give us a subscribe there, you will get notified when we are live. But yes, 2 p.m. You'll see us on our stories. I'll be promoting it every single day. So join us for that. But
mate, you forgot our most important group of listeners in the Drifter cohort, mate, and that's our South Australian listeners. It's 2:30 p.m. your time, dickheads.
Why? Why is it 2:30? Why do that? Why?
Because they're half an hour behind us typically, but they've got daylight savings, so they're.
I don't know, man. It's just
Hey,
half an hour.
Anyone who lives in South Australia, come at us. We don't give a shit about your half an hour. You know?
No,
Why don't you just group yourself in with Melbourne in Victoria? Because that's what everyone does anyway.
I agree.
Just like you're racing. All your trainers are leaving the state. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Sandown. Let's start with race 7, the Blue Diamond. Now, do you think this is a strong addition of the race, or do you think it's a typical Blue Diamond where it is just absolutely wide open?
Yeah, I'd say it's an average edition of the Blue Diamond on paper right now, which we were saying something similar about the Golden Slipper last year. Oh, this looks like a pretty average bunch. Yet Fireburn produced a rating which was in line with previous Golden Slipper winners.
Yes.
The Blue Diamond last year was atrocious. Dormier won that. However, there was a horse who ran into third who I backed, who was always going to be a better 3-year-old, and that was Jacquino. Right? So there's always going to be a couple horses come out of the Blue Diamond who are going to go on to bigger and better things, you would think. Whether they win this race is another thing. Guess who we both backed in this race a couple of years ago?
Animo.
Ran into the placings. So yeah, there's always going to be good horses coming out of it. Will this race rate super well? I think there's a few horses that could spike in on Saturday. Good luck if you find it though, because it's so open, mate. $5.50 the field with Neds. Are you kidding me? I think Steel City has come into $4.40 with Neds. So
that's starting to
crunch,
that's starting to get real short. I saw the speed in the race as being Zolfika from barrier 15, the instructor from barrier 6, exploring from 13, and party for 2 from 1.
Yep.
Did you see any other speed in the race there?
No, mate, I'm with you.
I actually think of all the horses in the field, Steel City gets the gun run.
Yeah.
She gets the absolute A1 spot. She might be behind the leader on the fence or one off. Yeah. Blake Shin aboard.
Jeez, he's good, isn't he?
He's so... And I've actually done some research. Last 30 days, him and Jamie Carr are basically striking at 25% winning strike rate.
Oh, man, he's good. He's good, and we know how good Jamie is.
Absolutely.
So he's got some good rides, actually, on the weekend.
He does. And you know who that's only matched by in New South Wales?
James McDonald?
No.
Oh, Tyler Schiller?
Nash.
Oh, I wish I got it, because we always give credit to Nash Rawilla, Hot Nash, because he's good, mate.
Striking at 24, 10 wins from 43 runs. Tyler is 18%, 7 wins from 40 runs.
He's pretty good, Tyler.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good jockey.
Absolutely. So I think Steel City is the starting point. She has the best form in the race for mine. Form behind Red Resistance and Learning to Fly. Surely that's good enough for this.
Yeah, she's got it. She's got to be the favourite, I think, based on that form. Red Resistance is arguably the best 2-year-old we have, right?
Hey, what about Brave Halo?
Hey, give me a second. This is why I preface it with arguably, because you can make an argument for it, right? I've come at a crossroads in my life, Dan. A real crossroads, because I've proudly flown my flag and had my dick in the table for as long as we've been doing this podcast about not being a big barriers guy.
Same.
I've always thought of myself a cut above everyone else, because I was like, I don't give a shit about barriers. And there's been plenty of instances, mate, where I've backed a horse where it's drawing the widest gate or one of the widest gates, and I said, I don't care about the barrier. I think it just wins, and it's happened before, mate. There's been plenty of times where it hasn't, but
that's horse racing.
But I'm not gonna lie, mate. My stomach dropped. It dropped. It fell through the floor. When you told me that Brave Halo got gate 16, I was like, he's had such bad luck since coming across the eastern side of Australia, mate. The least they could have done was giving him a number less than double digits.
Yeah,
I cannot order copy 9.
Yeah.
Give me a 9.
One time.
Not
this weekend.
But I'm not a barriers guy, mate. I'm a race shape guy, and I'm going to keep telling myself that.
Okay. So where does he sit from?
I think Ollie might use the little guile that he has left to get him into a nice spot forward to midfield.
Okay.
Just come across and just find a spot. Just get behind an arse. If you're 4 or 5 pairs back, just get behind an arse where you can at least peel out and have a go at him down the long Sandown straight. Brave Halo was incredibly unlucky last start. I think if he has a better run, I'm not saying he beats Barber, but I think he goes mighty close. And for a horse first up who's come across from the Western States as a 2-year-old, still has his nuts, mate, that's a mighty effort. He's still my main bet in this race, and a lot of the futures that I have on suggest that he should be. I got him at 17s, mate. I want him to win. I got him at 17s. Even with that gate, he's $7.50 with Neds. There's been a bit of specking for him, mate. So I think if Ollie, I'll know in the first 200 metres if he's going to win the race or not, or if he's a chance to win the race. But Brave Halo is the one for me. I admit Steel City favourite makes sense. The other horse I'm really keen on is from the Hay stable, and that's Little Bros. Because I love my little bros. Shout out Mackenzie, McLean, Mick. He's a little grey fella. He's quite steel looking at the moment. I thought he did really well in the prelude.
Savage the line.
He's drawing a gate here. Yeah, so they're the 3 horses for me in this race, completely ignoring Barber. Don't know why I was talking about Omens earlier. I don't know what point I was trying to make, but sorry, mate. What? Talk me through the race, because I could be completely, talking myself around in circles at the moment. So
I'm having 5 bets in the race.
5,
yeah, 5. I usually have 4, so what's one more?
Yeah.
Basically, I've actually got the exact same note that you just made. I'll read it word for word. Brave Halo was so unlucky in the lead up. Not sure his luck is going to get any better, but maybe Ollie has one more Ollie special left in him from the barrier.
Ollie, surely you have one more card left in that back sky rocket of yours you can play. And it's got to be like Exodia or Blue Eyes White Dragon, because I'm telling you, we need to beat Seto Kuiper somehow. I couldn't believe it, mate.
So obviously not ideal, but I actually think what Ollie will do, because I think Barber's actually drawn pretty sticky as well from 9. Like, he could be, I reckon he's the one that the horses inside that are wanting to take a position, they're going to try and push him out. So potentially Brave Halo will get a position behind Barber. Some cover, beautiful. Hopefully he takes Ollie into the race. I'm risking Barber as well. I think just at the price, Brave Halo is a better bet. The other horses that I like, the Instructor has done absolutely
nothing wrong.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong, mate.
The only Victorian horse that I've got in my numbers, because I think the Sydney ones are just absolutely superior NWA. So Steel City is my on-top selection, because I think she has, if I'm frothing Red Resistance,
yeah,
I'll have to froth her, especially with learning to fly form. And that Kundalini is very smart as well. And that ties in Big Don Corleone.
Big Don. He was flat last start, but is that a forgive?
Of course it is. You got the Snowdens, mate. This is probably his grand final. Like, I'm not gonna go off a Snowden runner when it ain't a big feature. So Big Don goes in my numbers as well. So $100 strategy, $20 to win on each of these. Steel City, Don Corleone, the Instructor, and Brave Halo. Then the Exacta with my on-top selection, 1 out. So Steel City on top for first, And then the other 3, Don, Instructor, Brave Halo in for second.
Lovely. I've got $50 on Brave Halo to win, covering my bet with 25 on Little Bros and 25 on Steel City. So if Steel City wins, I'll still make my money back.
Yep, lovely. Futurity. Now, I want to ask you a question before we get into this race.
Yep.
Who's the more genuine horse out of I'm Thunderstruck and Mr. Brightside?
Oh, it's such an interesting question you've asked me, because when I was looking at this race, I was asking myself the exact same question. And I was texting you during the week, and this is a roundabout way of answering it. And realised that I'm Thunderstruck, since his Golden Eagle win, has only won once. That was the Mackay Diva Stakes over 1,600 metres, where he just got Alligator Blood on the line. And what was a pretty huge run, let's be honest. Guess who's only backed him once in the last 12 starts? Yours truly. 1 from 1. Drifters. I think I changed my tune on him because, yeah, he nearly beat Animo in a Cox Plate. He's been running in Group 1 races, and I was like, you know what, he actually is a really good horse. Good horses win more often than 1 in 12, mate. What are your thoughts?
So are you suggesting that if I look at the last 12 months for Mr. Brightside, for instance, he's had 10 runs, 3 wins, 0 seconds and a third. So are you suggesting that Mr. Brightside is a more genuine horse than I'm Thunderstruck?
My betting on this race suggests so, yes.
I'm going to tell you how wrong you are right now.
Love it.
So they've had 6 starts against each other.
Yep.
It's 5-1 to Thunder.
Okay. As in just where he's finished in the race.
Yep. So when they're in the same race, who's finished in front of the other one? The only time the Brightsides beat him was when he won the Doncaster and he had 5.5 kilos on him.
Yeah. Yep.
Weight relief. So when they've been at equal weights, Thunder has beat him home every single time.
Okay. So you're telling me that Brightside is due to get one over him. That's what your point is, yeah?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Oh, fuck.
I was really impressed with Brightside's first up run, but I was even more impressed by Thunder's. I didn't have Thunder on side either. And we proved to be correct with like the first up runners running the trifecta. And then, lo and behold, I'm Thunderstruck's the first one home of the first up horses. Mate, he'll win this. Yeah, he's back. 100% he's back. Happy to risk Alligator Blood again to my peril.
Shit.
I need to see him again because his trials have been horrific.
Yeah.
Now, he's not the best trialer at all, but I was really hoping Gentleman Roy would be in this race.
Because you would have backed him?
No, because...
Buying the ointment?
Yeah, just like them going hard at each other out front. That brings in, Thunder and Brightside and others. The other horse that I am going to spec here in a Quinella, so I'm having $80 on Thunder to win, $20 Quinella with my Oberon. His first up run for Nisham in the spring was outstanding. If he can return anything close to that, he'll be right in the finish here. But his trials as well. If you're a trial guy, you're not backing my Oberon.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I'm a selective trial guy. Like when it works, when it works for my argument, I talk about trials. When it doesn't, I say I'm not a big trial guy.
100%.
Do you know what? This was out of all the races was the toughest for me on the weekend because I immediately thought Alligator Blood. And then I was thinking, no, the big ticket item for him is the All-Star Mile, like it is for a lot of these horses. But he's missed out on that first up run, which I think would have been a completely different race if he went against like a Gentleman Roy's because they would have been going mad out front. And then obviously, it brings in the stalkers into the race a lot more. I rewatched the CF4 so many times and I liked what I saw from Mr. Brightside more so than what I saw from Thunder. And for me, I am prepared to risk I'm Thunderstruck. He's drawn a gate. and he'll be probably close to the speed, and he'll probably pull my pants down, to be honest. But sometimes you just got to go out on a limb and put your dick on the table. Alligator Blood will lead. I think Mr. Mozart's dual accepted. Is he accepted in Sydney as well?
No, I don't. He might be, but Laws of Indices is.
Right, okay. Alligator Blood will lead this, and he could just put them away. He's hard to run over the top of. He's a good on his horse, Alligator Blood. But yeah, you're right. That first up run for him, and very interesting that they decided to bypass the CF4. So I'm like, maybe he's just a bit fat. Maybe he needs a run, and he'll be ready to go for the All-Star Mile. But I don't want to lose on the race if he wins. So I'm going to have $50 on Alligator Blood. And my on top is actually going to be Mr. Brightside. I've never put him on top ever in any of the Group 1 races that he's run in. But I think that break and that first prep against, as a genuine weight for age horse against the smartest horses we have, it's probably brought him on a lot. I really liked what I saw. I think out of all these, apart from Alligator Blood, he's more of your 1,400 to 1,600 metre horse. I think Thunder wants to get out further and further and further. So I'm happy to take him on. Could look like an absolute dill. Prepared to. Sometimes you've got to put yourself out there. So 50 on Mr. Brightside as well. He's going to be my on toppy as well.
Lovely.
But look, if anything, could be an interesting point of discussion on Saturday and on Sunday. We'll see.
I agree. I love that the Oakleigh Plate is race 9 on the program. What about you?
Oh, I'm not particularly asked. Why? Why is that?
Oh, typically we have like a benchmark 80 to finish the day, and you just go like,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And it's like, if you get rolled by, I don't know, knock on wood, Mask Crusader, you're like, well, fair play.
Yeah.
You know, he's a pretty good horse. Whereas like if something's popping up from Donald that you haven't even seen before, you're like, oh, okay.
Yep.
But this is race of the day for me. Oakleigh Plate.
It's a sensational race. Hell of a race.
Now, Me and Asfura are your two favourites. Are you back in the favourites?
Yes. I have been keen on Asfura for this race since she won a Group 2 in the spring, the Caulfield Sprint. I backed her there. I think she was about favourite there. If she wasn't favourite, she would have been definitely second in the line of betting. And then she started favourite on Derby Day, last race of the day or second last race of the day, and she was my best of the day. And she made the day a complete win for me. The jubilation. Like, I think you were standing behind me, and you just, I could tell the boys were happy for me. Might not have had her, but they were just like, you know what, like, if you felt that,
yeah,
I needed it.
Yep.
And she's been aimed at an Oakleigh Plate by Henry Dwyer since she won a benchmark 74. Months and months and months ago. Wanted her first up in this. Didn't want any more weight on her back than what she's already got. Yeah, puts herself in a really good spot. Drawn super well. John McNeil's on board. He's not my favourite jockey, but I think from that gate, it's pretty hard to mess it up, right? Right?
I don't
know. But no, she's my main bet in the race, is Fura. But it is an acid test. This is a super tough edition of the Oakleigh Plate, and yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see her not even finish in the placings because it's that close. But what do you think, mate?
I'm risking Me and Asfura. Asfura, for me, she's only done it against her own sex. You know, so I have to find something, one chink in the armour. That's it. Me is coming from bloody benchmark races.
Yeah.
She's second favourite. Yeah, Kieran Maher, David Eustace are foaming at the mouth about this thing. And Jamie Carr riding her over Chain of Lightning is a huge push.
Oh, yeah.
So have to respect her. Have to risk something. I'm going for juice here. I'm going with Lofty Strike.
Yeah, no brainer.
Froggy on board. Knows the horse back to front. That was a sensational win last start.
And I don't mind the gate for him either because he's going to go back anyway.
Yep, that's fine. I think he's strong enough. That Sandown Straight is enormous, and he has plenty of time to get into his work. It's going to be a fast track on the weekend. I think he'll relish that, absolutely. The other horse, I'm trusting that form from that race. Uncommon James.
He's done nothing wrong, mate.
Absolutely nothing wrong. So I'm happy to have him on side as well. So the way I'm playing the race is $80 on Lofty Strike at $10 or $11 with Neds. Then 2 Quinellas, $10 Quinellas. One is with Uncommon James, and the other one is with Zoo Style. If that gets up, game over for the game over. Having that 10 times because Zoo Style is $31. I can't believe the price. I can't.
Clearly.
Look at the form that this thing has. Ran second to Joyful Fortune. That horse ran in Everest, albeit very slowly. Ran third to Paul Alien Ingratiating. Ran third to Coolangatta and Bella Nipotina. And then second to Rothfire, beating home Coolangatta in its last 4 runs. And it's $31.
Mm.
Barrier 20 is not great.
No, it's not good.
So that's something that, you know, he needs to overcome. But Tony Gollan's come down and he's taken, you know, the Melbourne racing for his own. So I'm happy to have a little spec on Zoo Style.
Yeah, fair. We're liking similar horses. I've got 70 on Asfura to win at $5 with Neds. That'll be a good collect. I've got 15 on Lofty Strike on the Schnoz.
Mm-hmm.
Like we spoke about is it the Rubiton that he won?
Yep.
That's usually the right form for this race, and he's a smart colt, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him win. And I'm surprised at the price of him, to be completely honest. And then I've got another $15 on Uncommon James at $10 with Neds. So a couple of specs, 2 horses that I like, but no, Asfura is the top selection for me.
I cannot believe the price of Rockin' Horse. Again, $34.
Yeah, she's lugging the top weight.
Yeah. In sprints, we've said it before, just like, do the weights really matter that much? You could argue no. They probably do. But far out, mate. Like, yes, she's come off a setback. And Jamie Mott is not riding that well. I have some stats about him.
Oh, no.
Some not good ones. He's striking at 3.4%, 1 win from 29 rides. Last 30 days.
Oh.
Mate, he's doing better than Mickey D.
Oh.
And Johnny Allen.
Oh. How are they going?
No wins for both of them from 26 rides apiece.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I think she could feature. She's a bloody good horse, Rockin' Horse. Stupid name though. All right,
Yeah, not a fan of their name.
Let's go to Sydney. The Surround Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies, 1,400 meters. In Secret is your 220 favourite with Neds. Thoughts?
I think this is a 2-horse race for me. This is a hot fillies race, but I think there's 2 that are just really good.
Okay.
And there's a few that are pretty good fillies. She's a Belt is a good filly. Backed her multiple times and won money on her multiple times. I think she's a rung below the top 2 in this race. Fireburn, champion 2-year-old. She's still yet to... I need to see something from her as a 3-year-old.
Oh, absolutely.
To jump back on her. Madame Pomeroy is a Group 1 winner. No, In Secret and Zugotcha are head and shoulders above the rest for me. Zugotcha, the query's got to be she missed that first up run. So when you plan for your prep goes awry very early doors, you can still get them back on track, and you trust Chris Waller, right? But yeah, that's not absolutely ideal. The big thing for me is J-Mac has jumped off In Secret to stick with Zugotcha. So clearly, you know, he's got a high opinion of her, and so do I. So she's my on top selection. The gate's a bit tricky, but when you got the best in the biz on board, don't be too concerned. He'll find a spot for her. So I've got $50 on Zugotcha, and if she doesn't win, I've got a saver on In Secret, the only other horse who I think can win to make my money back. Like, for me, that's a no-brainer.
You've played the race sensationally. I haven't played it that way. I am risking... Zugotcha is a friend of this podcast.
Yeah.
She's welcome anytime.
Of course she is. She's a star.
Yeah, she's very, very good. And
I'll throw some chat about her after this.
Yeah, and, you know, some things that you've told me off mic are sensational stuff.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I'd have explained what happened on the weekend. But they...
Yeah.
I'm happy to risk her just because it is a little setback. I'm a you know...
Everything needs to be going swimmingly.
Yes.
Which is so fair. I'm usually like that as well.
So I'm happy to risk her. If she wins, egg on my face, so be it. There's 3 winning chances in the race. There's In Secret, Zoo Gotcha, and the one that you've missed is Ruthless Dame. Mate, this has form around the best 3-year-old in the country, Jacquino. Ran third behind it in the Manfred first up.
That's good form.
It's bloody good form. First filly home in the race. Then it's gone up to Sydney for a trial, and it's doing some of its best work behind Spacewalk, Marzu, Athelric. Some pretty good ponies there. Tyler Schiller on board. Mate, you're getting a price to find out, $14.
Oh, 100% you are.
Happy to have a spec that this might be one of those new late season 3-year-olds that are coming onto the picture. So the way I'm playing the race, $50 on In Secret. She could just be the best filly in the race. $30 on Ruthless Dame. So I want her to win desperately because
it's a big collect.
Yeah, it's a great collect. And then a $20 quinella between the two of them. I just couldn't fit Zugotcha in.
Hey, that's fine. You can't have them all. What I will say about Ruthless Dame, she's by Tavistock, mate. So I haven't looked at this at all. This is just a bit of a spec off the top of my head. Is she a Vinery stud horse? Because Tavistock's he generally produces some good staying progeny. If she's $14 in this race, what price is she for the bloody Vinery, mate?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look with Ned's because, mate, if you like her in this race, have a little spec at that futures price.
She is nommed for she's nommed for everything. Nothing coming up. So I'd say you're probably right?
Yeah, big price. In Secret's not going to be going to the Vinery. Zugotcha's not. And I'll tell you why Zugotcha's not. Because word from the stable is, and read into this what you will, drifters, if Nature Strip for whatever reason doesn't take the Chris Wallace slot in the Everest at the end of this year, and from what we saw on the weekend, it's probably looking a bit less likely, they've got this girl earmarked for the slot, Zugotcha, which I think is completely insane. But that's the opinion they have of this girl. So
who else are you going to give it to?
That is true as well. Like, they don't have an outstanding sprinter at the moment. But, you know.
Well, are they going to take Mars Crusader off Team Hawks and give it to Waller? I don't think so.
True. But there is also an entire season between now and then for a 3-year-old to emerge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they have to start these thinking processes.
100%. But I think it just goes to show that they've got an incredibly high opinion of the horse, right? Which obviously, like, she's won a Group 1 and she's only lost 2 races in 6 starts. So, but no, yeah, you know, we'll see. We'll see.
We will.
We'll see.
Chipping Norton. Now, I have a pretty hectic, not that hectic, but a stat.
Can't say hectic and then it's not.
Last favourite to not win the race. What year do you reckon?
Oh, well, pre-Winks. So at least I'm going to say 2012.
2014.
Oh, I was going to say 2014.
It's a done deal. Got rolled by Boban as an $1.85 favourite.
Oh, jeez.
But you've had Winks, Tiako, Shark, and VE in that time. Some sensational stuff.
Some good horses.
Yeah, so I think Animo has to, doesn't he?
Yeah. The further he gets out, the more likely he is to win for mine. So yeah, $100 on the mo for me. For a $70 collect, I'll take that. Thanks, Neds.
Yeah, it would just stem the bleeding from earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I can't even really make a case for.
He's drawing the plum run as well.
Like
he might even lead.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who will beat each other home out of Hinged and Fangirl. That's about the only other interest in the race that I have, other than Hueta for the Snowdens, because he is coming back from an injury as well.
I'm interested to see how Montefilia's come back too,
Really?
because she was disappointing.
She was
in the
very slow
in the spring. Yeah, very dour.
All right, so we have a ton of races to go through.
Oh, God, yeah.
So let's start at Sandown Race 1. We have the Victoria Gold Cup, 2100 listed race. This is one of the worst races you'd ever see.
It is. And there's a $1.80 favourite.
Right you are.
With Ned's. I'm not going to bet in this race, but
Hell no.
if I was picking on top selection, it'd be a rock hard fit. It'll go forward.
Yeah. If I was to put one and entertain one for your Ned Same Race Maltese, that would be number 7 Stars at Carrum. It's $31. So it's the outsider in the field. Just lob it in there.
Have you and Macca been
in cahoots?
Been in cahoots in the last couple of months? Because there's more and more roughies coming into your vocabulary. Like every week, I'm like, the only other bloke I know who's that infatuated with backing a horse at double figures is Macca. Well, I'll give you credit. You can make a case for him, mate.
I can. They don't do anything. But Elusive Express and Victora last week both finished 5th, just outside the top 4 Ned Same Race Maltese. Number 2 is the Angus Armanasco Stakes, Group 2, 1,400 metres for the 3-year-old fillies. I thought this was
2 words. Sydney form.
Okay.
And that's number 8, Call Die.
Yes.
Geez, look at the breeding on her.
Handy.
She's by Frankel. She's a smart filly. There's $6 with Neds. Yeah, I'm gobbling that up. Yum yum. That's as rough as it gets for me.
Yeah, I had her with the only filly in the country that's beaten Amelia's Jewel home, and that is Laced Up Heels number 2. So that's how we're playing the race. Mannerism, Group 3 for the 4-year-old and up mares. Set weights penalties. You have to have one last crack at her. You have to. Especially because she has a jockey booking here and she doesn't have one in Sydney.
And this is her first run in Melbourne since the Oaks, isn't it? Oaks Day.
Yeah. She's one from my Melbourne way of going, Espiona.
Oh, no. I might have to.
Hey, $4.
$4.20 with Neds.
You're getting a price.
If she was any other horse, she wouldn't be $4 though.
She's 6. She's in a 6-horse race.
Oh, you know what? I would be beside myself if I didn't back her and she won. So would every other drifter.
You would throw up in your mouth.
I would, mate. I would. I'll throw up my own mouth.
You'd have to.
I'd drown from bile. Anyway.
So Espiona on top of me as well. You can make a case for Barbrada. She's
a good horse.
Arguably the best horse in the race. And then Churath is coming back from Way for Age against the boys, back to Group 3 level against the girls. So you could make a case for her, and the market suggests she's the one to beat as well.
Yeah.
But trust Espiona. Last time ever.
I think so, yeah.
The Zeditave, 1,200 metres, Group 3 for the 3-year-olds. I liked one at a price here.
I didn't. I like the favourite. Spacewalk, $3.50 with Neds. Just let fast horses be fast. I think he's a pretty fast horse, Spacewalk. Yeah. Jake Carr on board.
Yeah, he's weighted sensationally in this race as well. He's a bit of a nutcase though.
Yeah.
Like that was his second win in 10 starts, and he might have won on debut, maybe. So that second win's been a minute, but he has form around the best named horse in Australia, Buenos Noches.
Buenos Noches.
But I thought you could put Sebenak, number 1, into your Ned's Same Race Maltese. He has been pretty slow up until his last run, but I've got a feeling about the Hawks stable. I reckon they're really starting to get into their work with these good tracks coming back.
They have been quiet.
They have, but they've got Remark back, and that's who this boy ran behind as well. So I'm happy to have a spec at him at $17, but maybe might even have a trifecta with Spacewalk, Rich Fortune, and then Sebenak into third. The Caulfield Autumn Classic.
Run at Sandown.
1,800 metres, Group 2 for the 3-year-olds.
Oh, I was with Pericles last start. I'm going to stick with him here, mate. You're not getting a good price to find out, but no, he's my on toppy here.
Yep. Him, Mr. Maestro, and if you want one different form, was Yasuki.
Yasuki.
Tipping Jai McNeil to have a day out here.
Yeah, shit. Just like we did on Derby Day a couple of years back. I don't think he rode a winner.
No.
Come on, Jai. Don't have a cry.
So this colt got out to 1,600 last start. I don't think he appreciates being on the inside of horses. He's drawn wide here, which I don't mind, and not entirely sure he love. I think he'll be better on a good track as well. $16, chuck him into everything. He could be the progressive one on the up. Now, this was the toughest race of the day for me. The Peter Young, 1,800 metres, Group 2, weight for age, for the older ponies. I'm risking the Melbourne Cup horses, Gold Trip, Emissary and Numerian.
I'm only having a small play in this race, and that's on the most interesting runner.
Yes.
In the race.
In the country, and
that's number 6, Il Paradiso. I backed him in the 2019 Melbourne Cup, mate, where he ran third and he probably should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a Northern Hemisphere 3-year-old then, mate. And he's now a 7-year-old gelding. I think he had his nuts in the Melbourne Cup race. He has been in so much bad luck with injuries, 172 weeks off, mate. Look, if he wins, that'd be a miracle. But he's $41 with Neds. I have to find out because that replay of that Melbourne Cup just honestly burned me for weeks afterwards. Il Paradiso, because I swear he should have won. Frankie Dettori had other ideas. Yeah, mate. So it's his 10th start. He's a 7-year-old gelding. How's that?
Crazy,
man.
No compromise for me. $9, I think, is overs. He was super first up.
He was, wasn't he?
Banju, and that form has been franked with Banju running second to the King Frankel last week. That is all she wrote in Sandown. We're back to race 3 at Royal Randwick. The Skyline Group 2 for the Colts and Geldings, 2-year-olds. Some different form lines coming through here, but I know the one that you're going to have on top.
Which one do you think?
Shinzo.
Of course it is. How did you know that?
Shinzo.
How did you know that?
Mate, it's got you written all over. Cornwall, Waller, J-Mac, $3. Yeah.
Shinzo on top. They've got a very high opinion of the horse. Chris Waller's not a typical 2-year-old trainer type, is he?
No.
He's more of a 3-year-old type. But no, they rate this horse highly, so Shinzo for me.
Yep. Having a few Ned's same race multis this weekend.
Evidently.
Chuck, number 7. If you thought Barber and what was the one that won last week? Anyway, this is the biggest nutcase 2-year-old in Australia. Have a look at this thing run. Number 7, Make a Call. Doesn't want to be there by all counts.
Doesn't want to be there.
But he's still running pretty bloody well. 1,300 down to 1,200. I thought that was interesting. Snowden Camp, Clipperton on board. That he's like their main rider these days. Sure. I'll find out at $21. I'll put him in to a Quinella with Shinzo. And shout out to Nathan Doyle with Rush Hour, the top weight. Race 5 on the program is the Guy Walter. Group 2 for the 4-year-old mares. Best of the day for me here. Number 3, Hope in Your Heart. Cracking bet this, especially if Espiona just goes down south. So she'll probably start around that $3. This form is red hot.
Old Flame form, mate.
Old Flame, Riadini, I Wish I Win, Fangirl. Come on. Yeah. Back to her own sex here. That's the big thing.
100%.
I think she's going to win and win well.
Yeah, if Espiona does go down south, you're not going to get $4 with Neds. She's the on toppy for me as well. There's a big watch on a couple of horses in this race. Dynasties is a watch. Yearning's a watch. They're at double figures, but no, Hope in Your Heart for me too.
Yeah, agreed. I think this might be the last one. The Sweet Embrace. Group 2 for the 2-year-old fillies. I had no firm opinions here. I thought this was far too hard.
I'm all over Skirt the Law. This is the biggest watch for me on the weekend. Backed her in the Magic Millions. I think she's one of the smartest 2-year-olds we have. If she wins this race, she will trim up for the Golden Slipper in a few weeks' time. Every race she's been in, she's just put the field away comfortably, mate. And that just shows me that she's a smart 2-year-old. I think she measures up with the best we have. So, really keen to see how she goes. Drawn gate 9, I'm not concerned about that. Really, really keen.
Put away Platinum Jubilee in the Magic Millions. Platinum Jubilee's running ahead half a length to Cylinder on the weekend. So, yeah.
Love a Queensland filly, mate, that's coming down and just raiding the Southern States for all their prize money, mate.
Could be a weekend out for Tony.
It could be a weekend out for Tony. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Live stream this Saturday, 2 p.m. AEST, Brisbane time. Bradley's going to join us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss it. It'll be all across our socials. We've given out a hell of a lot of tips there. So if you're having a bet, do it with Neds, but do it responsibly.
100%. Like you said, moving day. The train is leaving the station. Choo-choo. Get on board.
Let's
Good luck, drifters.
go.